Cheers, folks. It's your boy, the Flying Health Coach, coming at you on a Friday night. Having my glass of wine in a mason jar, sitting in my room with my majestic picture off to my left and my model airplanes off to my right. And I think I've tried recording a video now for the past 6 times. It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but here we are anyway. What I actually do really want to talk about this Friday night is fear. And I love the acronym behind fear. It's false evidence appearing real. It's absolutely fantastic. So false evidence appearing real, right? Our perceptions, right? What we think, the mindset that we develop, right? We create this picture in our minds, a picture of what things are going to be like. It's that false evidence we depict in our minds, and then it becomes real. As they say, what you fear, you attract, right? And it's so very true. What you fear in life, you attract. Why? Because if you start to fear something, your actions automatically you start to do things to not lose that thing, right? So as an example for relationships, right? This is a great example. I've been through this so many freaking times, it's ridiculous, right? If you fear losing somebody in life, that fear starts to manifest within you, right? And then you start to act differently. You start to talk differently. You just start to be different because you're scared of losing that person, right? You're scared of the outcome of no longer being with them. So you start to act different. And then what happens, right? You lose them. You lose a situation, right? And the same thing goes with your job, right? If you fear losing a job, maybe you start trying harder, right? If you try harder, you're prone to make more mistakes when you don't need to at the end of the day, right? If you fear, maybe not making enough money, maybe you start taking more risks with money to make more of it, and you start losing more, right? But you're acting out of emotion, right? You're not acting out of logic anymore, right? You're not acting out of your natural intelligence, right? You're acting out of fear, right? And fear, again, is false evidence appearing real. That's the acronym for that, which is, again, so very true. We're developing this perception in our minds that we turn it into reality when it's really not happening yet. And that's what I want to make this video about, is fear, and how fear isn't a bad thing unless we turn it into a bad thing, which we do all the time, right? Fear in itself, it's healthy, right? Fear is a very healthy emotion. If you're scared of something, that's an opportunity for growth, right? That's an opportunity for you to look at a situation and say, I don't understand this situation and it makes me scared, right? If I learn more about it, if I put action toward the situation to a certain degree, a healthy amount of action, I can grow from this fear. Versus if I let this fear control me, if I let this fear overtake my emotions, then it's going to hinder me as a person, right? It's going to hinder who I am and hinder my ability to be the person I need to be in this life. So we need to focus on, when it comes to fear in life, right? And from a pilot perspective, right? If you're just starting out, fear of maybe succeeding as a pilot, right? Or if you're, building hours, right? Like I am right now. My fear is I'm never going to get there, right? Right now, my fear is I'm not good enough. And that ties into not just the pilot, but my relationships too. My biggest fear in life is that I'm not good enough for anybody. That's my reality, right? I learned that from a young kid. I'm trying to overcome it right now, but Because of that fear, my fear of not being good enough, when that fear starts to manifest, I start to act differently, right? I no longer act as this, confident Marcus, this driven Marcus, this purpose driven Marcus who's going for his passion and purpose in life. I start to act out of fear. And it's, unfortunately happened more often than not, but I know that about myself. I know that's exactly what happens to me is my fear of not being good enough is I start to try to be too good, right? It's inauthentic. Um, and it's the same thing that happens to a lot of people, right? I mean, if we're being vulnerable here, which I am, and that's the point of this channel is to be vulnerable and to speak your mind, we have to focus on ways that we can't let fear control our reality, right? We have to be smart enough to be able to recognize that we're fearful, to recognize that, hey, we have X, Y, and Z fear, but that's just false evidence appearing real, right? It's not real. It's fake, right? It's not real. It's what we develop in our minds. Our minds are very melodramatic, right? Our minds create all of these crazy situations going on in life right now that they're not real, right? But our minds are so geared towards making us feel comfortable or making us cope with situations or making us feel X, Y, and Z way to get through the next day or the moment, right? That we just start to develop these crazy scenarios going on that aren't needed. They're not needed, period. But we do it anyway. So fear, right? Fear is a powerful motivator, right? Fear is essential in so many ways. We need to have it. We need to be fearful of failure. We need to be fearful we're going to lose someone we love, right? We need to have those fears, right? Because if taken care of healthily, if we're fearful of our job, it can help us work a little harder. If we're fearful of losing somebody we love, maybe we can ask more questions, right? Maybe we can ask, what can I do better, right? If we're fearful of losing our own self, maybe we can pause for a second and ask, what am I not doing for myself right now? What am I not doing for me that I need to do right now to take care of myself and to dissipate this fear, right? But that's all fear is. It's false evidence appearing real. It's not real, right? Our minds make it visceral, they make it real, but it doesn't need to be, right? We just need to be mindful enough to recognize the fact that I am feeling this way, but I need to counteract it by this, right? I need to understand that my fear is telling me I should do this. But if I take a step back and just understand that this is just false, right? If I understand that I'm creating these perceptions from my mind, and if I just take a moment here and realize the fact that, well, this is not my actual reality in the moment. And I got really close to the camera there. It's probably kind of awkward. Um, it's false evidence appearing real, folks. False evidence appearing real that we create in our minds. That doesn't have to be there. You don't have to be fearful, right? You don't have to be bogged down by your mind. You don't have to be anything that you don't choose to be already. So if you can take anything from the video tonight, is that take from it that fear is something you create, something you create in your own mind. That you don't have to be fearful about your outcome. You don't have to be fearful of losing anybody. You don't have to be fearful of any of that. Because being fearful about any of it is only going to drive you closer to that situation, right? Again, if you're fearful of losing somebody, it's going to drive your actions, which is going to inevitably end up losing them. If you're fearful of your job, right, it's going to drive actions towards that job, and you're not going to be your true authentic self. And that's not the point behind living an authentic life. Is living authentic life is being fearless to a degree, but again, fear isn't a bad thing, but you have to be able to recognize I have X, Y, and Z fear. I feel this, I know this. Okay, let's take a step back, right? Let's step back a bit and let's label this fear. Let's understand why I'm feeling this way. If I can understand it, and if I can maybe label it a bit, if I can conceptualize why this fear is here, at least I have the ability to recognize it and then take some action before that fear takes control of me and that fear drives my action, right? I don't want the fear driving my action. I want to be the person in, driving my action, not my fear, right? My logical mind. So that's my spiel on fear. This is the Flying Health Coach. I talk a lot about the tripod of health: mental, physical, and spiritual. I'm on my first glass of wine tonight, which is technically my third drink. I'm a lightweight, so again, I'm being 100% authentic with all of you right now. I'm a little buzzed up, which is why I did this video on fear, because it's deep rooted within me. The false evidence appearing real video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you got a good laugh. Maybe you took something from it. Maybe you didn't. If not, I'll have plenty more videos down the road. But what I'm really going to try to do is just keep making videos and not delete them anymore. Right? As I want to have just truly authentic videos out there that I'm not redoing 4, 5, 6 times. 4, 5, 6 times as I count 3 in my hand. I just want to make truly authentic videos for people, right? I want to be my authentic self. I want to talk about real stuff. I want to help real people. And I just want to make real content. So I'm going to try really hard down the road again to not have a 4th, 5th, or 6th take. It's my first take. It's just going to sound awkward, but that's the point of this channel, right? The point of this channel is to be authentic. The point of this channel is to be who you truly are and accept that fact and to work your ass off to get to where you want to be. And eventually, at some point, if you feel like you want health coaching, if you just need to talk, if you just need a space to be non-judgmental, to be vulnerable, I'm going to be here for you. Like I said in my beginning video, I will have a spot for health coaching and just personal development and just living a more well-rounded life. So anyway, that's enough for a Friday night. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bust your ass for your passions. Don't let anyone tell you to take a day off from your passion. Don't let anyone to tell you that you can't do it, right? And don't let fear control you, right? Don't let that false evidence appearing real. Don't let that perception build in your mind. Don't let it control you. Don't let it dictate your decisions. It's not real. Peace.